Hello, the internet. Happy Friday, and welcome to another episode of Enter the Popverse. I am your video host and producer, Ashley Victoria Robinson, your host here in the Popverse. The Popverse, of course, is a virtual realm created by ReadPop, just in case you didn't know, and that's okay because you are welcome here each and every single day, all the time, no matter what is going on anywhere in the world. Enter the Popverse is our weekly roundup chat show where we are chatting all things geeky across the media sphere going on that we're excited about, and we think that you are going to be excited about to chat with us. As always, I want to let you know that if you want any more information about anything that we talk about today, thepopverse.com is, of course, your best place to find it. We have features, we have articles, we have polls, we have photos, we have video content there. We make so much incredible stuff for you, however you want to get it, over at thepopverse.com. And while you're over there, I super recommend getting a Popverse membership for yourself. I have a Popverse membership for myself, so I know you're going to want one too. That means that you never miss a single thing that we are getting up to here in the Popverse, whether or not you are in a place where we might have something like a super fancy live event. Friends, I want to tell you some exciting stuff about live events. There is a chance that you are watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, you know, most of the time I watch Enter the Popverse, it's live. This seems like it might be pre-recorded because there's no live chat. Why is this happening, my friends? I am so happy to tell you that this is happening because at this very moment, I am in Las Vegas, Nevada at MagicCon. Yes, we are doing all of our Magic the Gathering stuff this weekend. I am hitting it up with my Black Lotus VIPs. I hope to see a lot of familiar faces from some of the other MagicCons that I've been to. But if you are in Las Vegas and you are in the Las Vegas area and you love all things Wizard of the Coast and you love all things Magic the Gathering and you aren't coming, there is a really beautiful, with like truly unparalleled, stunning artwork available right now that tells you everything that I'm going to be getting up to this weekend, that you can be getting up to this weekend if you join us during the show for any of these show hours. And not for nothing, but the art for the Magic the Gathering shows is truly unparalleled. They're some of the most beautiful websites that we have for any of the events that we run. I'm going to be in Las Vegas all weekend. And I just want to shout out, there are like a couple really exciting things going on. Not only is there incredible tournament play, there's incredible free play. You'll see all kinds of fun, familiar faces from the ReadPop family bouncing around there. So please hang out with us and play Magic if we're around trying to do that with you. Check out the slumber party that's going to be part of the show. It's the thing that I am super most excited for, is the slumber party at MagicCon Las Vegas this weekend. I will leave it to you to search for why, but suffice it to say, it's going to be a really good, fun time with super exciting guests. So yes, MagicCon this weekend. Brief respite. We're going to be back here on Into the Popverse live, doing the things where you talk to me and I talk right back to you by name. And then after that, we are jetting off to New York for New York City Comic-Con in the greatest city in the world, October 12th to 15th. If you get yourself this handy dandy Popverse membership, even if you're not in New York or on the Eastern Seaboard, you still have a ton of access to some of the incredible stuff that we are doing all weekend long at New York Comic-Con, including the main stage Ewan McGregor panel that yours truly is hosting. So I hope to see you all very soon on either the West Coast or the East Coast of the United States. All right, friends, we are going to start the show with a callback to last week's show. We love having Graeme McMillan, our unofficial co-host of the podcast, join us, and to join us for recurring segments on Into the Popverse, because he's one of the only people, in fact, I think the only people, who joins me here each and every single week, except maybe for, you know, like Galactus and Kyle Rayner and Spawn and Jupiter Jet and some of the fun people up there. And maybe some of you. Hi, Tom Trainer. I see you here often. Last week, Graeme and I talked about the Drew Barrymore Show, what it meant that all these talk shows were coming back in the strike, how this was affected by the guild strikes, how some shows weren't affected by the guild strikes. We really tried to get down into the nitty-gritty and explain it to you. And so many of our audience asked so many incredible follow-up questions to contextualize this, that over the weekend, there was a development in the story. So please join me in the traditional Enter the Popverse Theater Kid round of applause as we welcome back to Enter the Popverse our staff writer and unofficial co-host, Mr. Graeme McMillan. Welcome back, Graeme.
Hello there. How are you, the most powerful person on the internet?
Only for this.
That's how are
one
you,
thing.
the most powerful person on the internet. Not how are you the most powerful person on the internet.
I think
But look,
both
this time,
legit questions.
this time last week, we were talking about this, and I was like, well, just you wait and see. Like they're going to do the talk shows and they're going to be popular. Entirely wrong. 100% wrong. I was the wrong side of that equation.
It's so wild that it happened, period. It's so wild that it happened to this person under these circumstances. It's so wild that less than a week apart, you and I are doing this twice. And it's wild that people bullying a celebrity on the internet actually made something good in the long run happen. That's wild to me.
But here's the thing that's really genuinely amazing. So, I mean, on the one hand, poor Drew Barrymore for being the bully celebrity, because it wasn't only Drew Barrymore, right?
No, but she is the face of it. She is the female face of it.
Yes, she went first. She was, for want of a better way of putting it, the approachable, bullyable face in this. Because let's face it, no one's going to bully Bill Maher because
he doesn't care.
But also, who really wants to have that experience on either side, you know?
Fair.
But what is genuinely crazy is that it worked. Like, it worked to such a degree that it's not just Drew Barrymore that said we're not doing it. Like, almost every talk show, I think there's just one that has actually gone back on the air.
I believe the talk also, like, kind of most famously
the talk
like,
come out.
We're good, we're done. I hadn't seen if the Jennifer Hudson show had offered any comment.
Jennifer Hudson show is also not doing it. The Bill Maher show is also not doing it. Like, it's I think there's just one, and it's I can't remember the name. Sherry someone.
Oh boy, let's say yes. Miss Sherry's show.
Yes, it's a daytime talk show that I've never heard of before. Has come back, right? And they did the thing, and they actually had a segment on the show where they're like, we don't even use writers, so it doesn't matter, which is maybe not the flex that you want. I'm like,
because I've seen a lot of, boy, I'm gonna get the name of the show wrong and people are gonna drag me. It's A Good Day or Good Morning with Michael and Kelly. It's whatever the Michael and Kelly.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it's Good Morning or I'm sorry. Please come on into the Popverse and drag me in person if you want to drag me, Michael and Kelly, not your.
We're going to be in New York. Like, you could go on their show and get dragged.
But they also put out a statement where I don't think they've stopped at all, except sort of for their regular weeks off. But they were like, we also don't employ WGA writers, which. Again,
exactly.
TV variety talk shows are under a very specific type of contract, but
and again, it might not be the flex that you think it is by going, yeah, we don't have writers. Okay, like, sure, whatever. But what is incredible is the bullying. I mean, is it bullying? I think bullying is maybe a bit strong.
I know, but
it's a funny joke. I did see someone on social media, and I'm sure this is what you're referring to. Basically, being like, "Oh, bullying actually serves a purpose now."
Yeah, it's like a bad. I don't think it happened in the most elegant way possible, but I don't know if the announcement in the initial part of the story started in the most elegant way possible. But like the right thing happened. Like, holy cow!
But all of this was in a 5-day period in total.
I think it might have been Sunday to Sunday, so it might have been 7 days total.
But Drew Barrymore announces that her show's coming back, and we'll just use like Drew Barrymore as the example model here, right? She announced the show's coming back. Everyone gets upset. She then posts an apology video that people get more upset at, to the point where she deletes the apology within a day, and then 3 days later, she's like, "Yeah, the show's not coming back at all." I mean, it's amazing. It's genuinely amazing how quickly this moved. And, you know, going back to me being wrong last week, as I think we always should, I think it's important and to humble yourself on the internet. You know, I very much was approaching this as well, people aren't going to care. Yeah. Right. The show's going to come back and people are just going to be like, I want my show. Like, I need my stories. That's great. Here's my stories. And I was entirely wrong. Because I think what happened was that so many people did care.
Yes, very loudly, in fact.
But not just the people who work in the industry. Do you know what I mean? So many people outside the industry, so many of the viewers cared.
Yeah,
and were vocal about that there was no save here beyond doing what they did, which was to pull the show. And I think that says a lot about the fact that we are we're months into the WGA
One
strike.
cute week into the strike, and things are already rocketing right to the top.
No, but we're at what, for real? It's like what, day 150?
We're over 100, yeah. We're like going into we're ending month 4, I believe, like a full quarter of the year.
And we're 2 months into the SAG strike.
Yeah.
And there really was this understanding, this belief on behalf of the studios and the producers of like, well, it's going to come a point where like people are going to get bored of it. And that's just not happening. It's just not happening at all.
I thought we had at least 2 more. I thought we had a full 21-day site. I was like, oh, this is going to end while we're in New York. And I'm like, Graeme and I are going to play out this bit for people. And then we're never going to be able to conclude it because we're going to be trying not to pass away in New York City, probably closer to Drew Barrymore than ever before. And it happened. Is
Drew Barrymore not in LA? I'm pretty sure.
I have no idea. I just assume all talk shows are in New York. I know that's incredibly naive because my little talk show is in LA, but I honestly have no idea. I'm so sorry. You can drag me at Ashley B. Robinson if you want over that. That's fine. The other thing that I think is so fascinating is, as we talked about, there are episodes in the can. There is footage in the can.
Yes.
Stuff is shot. So do you think those are whiffed entirely, or are those going to be like the first 6 episodes that they roll out in January or March?
That's just, it depends how long it's going to be, right? Because there's going to come this point where, say this does go to January even.
Mm-hmm.
The people who have come on to promote things, those things are going to have happened. Like, they're going to be way in the past. You know what I mean?
Like 6 months out of date, yeah.
You're going to have, like, some singer coming out being like, my album comes out in a month. And, like, the album has come out and flopped. And no one remembers who the singer is. It's a really strange thing. I wonder if they're going to do this. They're basically going to, like, cut to pre-tapes in the middle of the show. Be like, and here's our live thing. But also, a few months ago, we talked to so-and-so. Throw it a bit. Or it could just be junked. It's the strangest thing. Everything feels up in the air right now in a way that is at once exciting and terrifying.
It's exciting because whatever happens, it's going to be a monumental paradigm shift. And that's always exciting, but it's sort of, we're going to spend another year navigating what like the balance on the other side is, right?
I saw writer Alish Cott on social media say, this is I think a couple of days ago as we're recording, and so further ago, but he was like, we're on day 140 of the WGA strike. The longest WGA strike ever was 154 days. So you have 2 weeks to end it before this literally can be called an unprecedented strike.
And then every day after, my god.
Which is the weird thing, because we are so close to this being the longest action in the entertainment industry. Which is crazy.
Do you think what's happened in the last week is in any way going to affect like the AMPTP? Because I heard a rumor. I think the rumor buzzing that they've reached back out to the WGA, so everyone's
they've announced it. They've announced it.
Have they? Okay, great. Then they've announced. All right, take 2. I'm not going to edit this, even though this is pre-tape. They've announced that they are a renegotiator. They've sent an invite out to the WGA again. So that's.
I think it's got to. I think all of this stuff has to, for want of a better way of putting it, scares the producers in the studios, because there has been no point at all in this where the producers in the studios have looked like the reasonable ones. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There really hasn't. It's not been this push and pull of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It has continually been the producers like trying things in the press that fail horribly.
Can't wait for them to lose their houses.
Right? Or, well, if only they knew how badly these shows were doing, then they'd know that they couldn't get any money. Like all of these things. And you are seeing studios try and do things that undermine their own arguments.
Mm-hmm.
So Ahsoka came out and Little Mermaid came out on Disney Plus, and Disney released viewing figures for them, even though they have been arguing that they don't have viewing figures for Disney Plus, but they do when they're trying to post how many people are watching.
Yeah, when there's something to brag about, right?
Yeah. So it's like they just continually are undermining their own points and undermining their own arguments and coming off worse and worse and worse. In all of this, you have Bob Iger talking about how they were what was it? He said that it wasn't that they were being greedy, but he said they were ungrateful or something.
Yeah, ungrateful. Yes, particularly support staff. Called out people who are not even on salary.
But you continually have the various parties trying to play the press and trying to like game this out in some way that explodes in their face in just this amazing fashion where you're just like going, did you really think that was going to work? And when are you just going to give the people what they want?
I'll be interested if a year from now, you and I are sitting here saying, remember the writer's strike? And now there's been all these executive shufflings around. And it won't even be everyone getting fired. It'll just be everyone put back in the shoebox and shaken around and thrown out to different studios, because that's how it actually works most of the time.
Well, okay, I want to throw this to you then.
Yeah.
A year from now, do you think, A, we will still be on the strike? Do you think it's going to last that long? Because who knows?
I don't think the real estate market can last that long.
We are a third of a year into into the writer's strike now, which again, who would have thought when it started, right?
Since May, I believe. Yeah.
But also, when it's over, how much of an impact do you think this is going to have, like a year afterwards? I think are we going to be able to point back and be like, well, that was a change, like that was a game changer?
I think it depends on what level you're sort of looking at it from. I think in terms of like the people who are currently working in entertainment and directly affected by the strike, so like pre-production, production, post-production studios, anything like that, I think you're going to be able to see it almost as soon as everything goes back, because I think we're going to see the industry shrink. I think this is the popping of the streaming bubble. Like, and that's going to be a huge problem to have to navigate, but ultimately like for good end. So I think if you're working in LA in entertainment or New York, you're going to see the shrink. Like if January 1st is when we all go back, I think you're going to see it like the next day you're on set, because so many so many shows were canceled. So many people are leaving. So many people are having to get like quote unquote like day jobs or side hustles and things like that. And then I think on top, I think for the consumer, I think the consumer is going to see it next in the fall season, because the fall season is all stuff that's either going to be not in completed production. So we're going to have that pandemic era. Doom Patrol ends an episode early, or it's a lot of we've bought up stuff from international and it's reality. So I think consumers are actually going to see it.
You mean fall season this year, like fall 2023?
Yeah, because that's, if you look at the listing of not streamers, but like television channels, like the CW, for example, the CW's entire fall slate is stuff that they bought from other countries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think
it's COVID again. It is COVID again.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
It's going to be significantly different next year, for sure.
Yeah, I'm very curious what's going to happen. When you were talking about people who are leaving, you also reminded me, one of the things that's happened just in the last couple of weeks, as we're talking, is that a lot of streamers and a lot of studios are suspending overall development deals.
That's right.
And I wonder how that's going to play out as well.
You're also going to see that trickle down to a lot of, again, like support staff, assistants, anybody who kind of has still managed to not be cut completely right now is like going to be getting let go right now as well. Yeah, like any final dregs.
No offense, dregs.
No, I mean, look.
I know exactly what you mean.
Please don't make me explain.
No, I know what you mean. I'm giving you a hard time.
Okay, support staff, I'm sorry. You're not dregs. You're the cream. You're the only reason any of this happens.
But it is this weird thing where, I think that, I don't know how much the viewing public who doesn't work in the industry is actually going to be thinking this in September 2024. I think the entertainment industry is going to be thinking about this for years.
Yeah.
Years, because it has been so big. And I think that whatever deal is made to get everyone back to work is going to have to be a big one at this point.
It is, because otherwise,
what's the point?
To what end? Yeah, like if you're suffering, you might as well all suffer. I don't know. I've lost the metaphor now.
But it is like it's been a third of a year for real, and for actors it's been again 3 months, 2 months, so like something like that. It's been
July, since right before San Diego.
It's been a significant period of time, and you don't do that if you were just going to like roll over when they say, okay, but what if we give you an extra donut every day?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it has to be, the studios and producers are going to have to cave on a significant number of things, which is going to have a trickle-down effect to everything, ultimately.
I'll just say this, friends who are watching or who may be listening to this, mark my words, the rise of the celebrity interview podcast and YouTube show, it's coming back. Graeme, I'm going to ask you this because you hate it when I ask you this.
Oh, no. But I'm just going to lie.
We're not going to be able to do this live for like a minute as New York Comic Con comes up. So I got to get them in while I can. Graeme, what are you geeking out about right now that you're not working on?
Oh, man. What am I geeking out about right now? I was going to say something I wasn't geeking out about, which I watched the other day and was really disappointed by. I watched Creed 3 finally, and I love the Rocky films and I love the Creed films, and Creed 3 was not good. And I was genuinely upset about that. I was like, it's like a parody of a Rocky film. What are you doing? How could you do this to me? This is terrible. I'm geeking out about Taskmaster right now. I'm back into Taskmaster. Talking about unscripted television. Like I am geeking about Taskmaster. It's on YouTube here in the States for some like inexplicable reason. And I'm loving that very much. And I'm also very happy because I'm going to the UK in October and November. I'll be happily watching it on UK television. I'll jump in the future. It'll be a wonderful thing.
Oh my gosh. I hope your internet holds out and maybe we can talk about that live in the middle of the night for you. But
I very, very genuinely much hope that we can do this when I'm in the UK and you can just see me get crazier and crazier because I'm there for 3 weeks.
It's going to be awesome. All right, Graeme, if anyone wants to come at you for your Creed opinions, remind them where they can find you on all the social medias.
Just look for Ashley's social media. That's where you can get me. I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at Graeme M.
There you go. Bye, Graeme. All right, friends, it seems like in a year time, Graeme and I are definitely going to have to be back here doing Popverse episode 70 or 80 something. I'm really good at maths. Seeing what the aftermath 1 year later from the beginning of October, the end of September, what the entertainment industry is like. I hope you will join us to see how the postmortem goes in a year. Speaking of postmortem, that was a really, really great transition. We have an incredible writer, someone I have been a fan of for so long, who makes it on so many people's best of lists. I'm so excited to talk to this incredible gentleman. Please, one more time, put your hands together in the traditional Enter the Popverse Theater Kid round of applause to welcome an EP and writer of television, films, and comics, owner of Zombie Love Studios, Eisner-nominated writer for Killadelphia, Blacula, and Monarch, and so much more. It's Mr. Rodney Barnes. Hi, Rodney. How's it going today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited as a Killadelphia fan from Volume 1. This is a real treat for me. So thank you for coming and indulging me personally.
Well, thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it.
So I want to ask you, we kind of chatted about this before the show started, but Killadelphia 30 and 31, blew the universe out of the water, second printings, headlines all over the internet. How does a collaboration and a bringing together of characters like Spawn and Savage Dragon and Blacula, how does that even happen?
Well, various relationships. The great Todd McFarlane, nice enough to allow Spawn to visit Philadelphia. Hopefully he has what it takes to be able to make it out of Philadelphia.
TBD.
But yes, Blacula, and same thing with Eric Larson and Savage Dragon, kind enough to allow him to leave Chicago to come to Philadelphia. And in regards to Blacula, that was my relationship with MGM, and they were kind enough to allow him to leave MGM and come to Philadelphia. So there you go.
I think there's opening up with the Blacula relationship. It could open up a lot of fun, maybe other media possibilities.
For sure. Certainly. I think the character has enough of a sociological, cultural connection to what we do with Killadelphia that I think he could have a sustained relationship with the book.
Ooh, I love to hear that. That makes me so excited. I have tingles. I can't. Is there a sense of responsibility that comes down on you as the writer and the think tank when you are not only carrying on your kingdom, but you're adding other people's kingdoms to your story?
For sure. You want to give them the proper amount of gravitas and, it's a delicate balance. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want them to overshadow the world that they're entering in, but you also want to give them the proper stage to be who they are as well. So you're trying to find the correct balance and just the right tone to be able to allow both creations to exist.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
Is it hard to keep something like this secret? Because I am like at the edge of my seat just talking to you about this. And this obviously is a process that's a long time in the making. There's writing. Comics aren't a quick thing to make. How do you keep that all under wraps?
It was really hard because Jason and I were like, okay, when do we say it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard with the end of 30 to get to
Yeah.
that last page and turn the page and see Spawn, and you go, oh, wait a minute, we've got this story about this kid, and all of a sudden Spawn shows up. Really tough to keep that under wraps. And then when it came to Savage Dragon and Blacula,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, we've kind of let Spawn out of the bag. Why not let everybody else play along and, announce them as well?
What does this imply as well about your version of Philadelphia, the Killadelphia, in terms of how it sits at the apex of all of these universes? Are you secretly in the most powerful universe?
Oh, wow. The most powerful horror universe, maybe.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's some bad things happening in Philadelphia in regards to vampires and monsters and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a unique place. And in the beginning, we always said we wanted Philadelphia to be a character in the book as well, and not just be like a setting.
Mm-hmm.
That it also had a feeling and a tone, and it has its own culture, and it's connected to America in a historically political way,
Mm-hmm.
but also in a lot of the issues that it's going through in real time sort of reflect what's happening in a lot of cities in America as well. So being able to add a genre element into that speaks to both of those dynamics, that's always the challenge, but the fun as well. And so bringing in these new characters, they become a part of that as well.
And how does that affect your process as a writer? Do you have like a separate Google Doc that's just Philadelphia story arcs? What do your times look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you asked that because in the second arc right
Mm-hmm.
now, these books, there is a separate B story that's happening where we're talking about what the actual people of Philadelphia are dealing with, because the National Guard has the city shuttered off from the rest of the country and the rest of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what's happening with the people? So that feeling tonally of heart and hope and despair and everything that comes with Killadelphia, those stories are still there with the people. So you'll have human stories that sort of juxtapose vampire and monster stories as well.
And I mean, Killadelphia in the name, and even if only anyone watching only from the context of the characters that you're crossing over with, Spawn, Savage Dragon, Blacula, it is a dark look at this type of story, but I also think there's a lot of hope through all of these arcs. And how do you keep that alive in your storytelling?
You try to get to a place, I hate the idea of just dread for the sake of dread.
Mm-hmm.
You're already dealing with monsters and violence and all of this stuff. But I think at the end of the day, you want to feel like there's still some humanity, some place, some bright light that exists somewhere. And it almost gives you a little pressure off of the relief valve of despair, even when and I think it makes it, even with humor, we try to add jokes in from time to time. We try to add elements of story that don't feel like they're just like there's hopelessness, like there's just hopelessness.
And are you intentionally trying to combat like vampire tropes with that? Because what I think is so unique about the book is we know what vampires are, we know what teen vampires are, but I still feel like you're doing innovative things in the storytelling.
Yeah, we're trying to add, one of the things I always wanted to do with vampires was to say that, almost like with childhood trauma, they say what you become as an adult was shaped when you were a child. And I want to say that what you were as a human being, that sort of shapes who you are as a vampire. So whatever your personality was, your moral, ethical center or lack thereof, all of that was shaped when you were a human being. So there's always this sort of vacillating between that and the fact that you're a predator now. And how does that manifest? You have a character like Seesaw, who is probably the most evolved character in the Killadelphia world. But at the end of the day, like when you see him with a bucket of rats, you know, because he still has to drink blood in order to be able to exist. You don't want to forget, because he's so empathetic and can be kind and be all of these other things. He's still a vampire at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But as a human being, that's who he was. He had this connection with his grandmother and his friends and the community. And so he sort of, what he manifests as a vampire is different than, say, what John Adams was, or what Abigail Adams was.
I love her so much. I love her so much.
I miss her. I miss her right now. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Abigail Adams? But, you know, I think being able to add that shade of humanity into the story as a human reader, you're able to see a little bit more of who we are as people within these vampires.
Because of course it's different for the vampire readers.
Yes. Well, the vampire readers, they just, you know, they can only read at a certain time because they're busy.
Yeah.
So we love so there you go.
We love the comic book shops that stay open after dark. Thank you so much.
Exactly. They got to break in. They got to figure a way in. On Wednesday nights, they got to come in after midnight.
That's right. Everyone's open till 1 a.m. inexplicably.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to know a little bit about your process as a writer. Like, how many issues ahead are you? And then what's it like when the art's coming in and you see something like the bucket of rats? Are you ever like, oh my goodness, I did that?
This is when we need Jason to be a part of the conversation. In the beginning, I was always like 2 or 3 issues ahead, like a couple weeks ahead. Never good enough for him. The idea is always ahead, but the actual script itself comes in right on time. It's never as quick as I'd like it to be because there's so much stuff happening right now. But you know, we stay far enough ahead in order to keep on schedule most of the time.
That's good. And honestly, in comics, you're like, post 1990, we're all doing great.
And to answer your question, you know, what Jason does is he'll text me a frame that he did. So he did text me Seesaw with the Rats. He will text me something that really excites him. It's a weird thing with our relationship. I'm writing my script for him. He's my constant reader. He's the guy that I'm trying to impress. So his reaction is the first reaction, and you know, everybody else's is sort of whatever he thinks, I'm thinking the rest of the world is going to think, or at least hoping. And so I work for that. And it's the same thing with his art. I mean, Jason's such a great artist that I'm rarely surprised at this point. But if it's something cool, like when he first sent that first Spawn panel, that was on the last panel of issue 30.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, Spawn is in Killadelphia. That's what he wrote under, and that was the picture. I was like, yeah, you used to draw Spawn. I can tell. You still got it. You still got it.
I love that. This is like a silent flex.
Yeah, you still got it.
Rodney, we've had such a good time talking about your work, so I want to leave you with one last question about anything except what are you geeking out about right now that you're not working on?
Oh my God, that's a great question. I actually like the Daryl Dixon Walking Dead.
I love that.
I actually appreciate. I was like, they sort of lost me at a certain point, you know, after Glenn left. Spoiler alert. But I kind of like this new thing that they're trying to do more so than the other Walking Dead iterations that have come along. I kind of like this one.
I love that. You're the first person who's mentioned that. So it's always exciting when something new gets shouted out. Thank you so much for joining us and letting me pick your brain today. And I hope we'll have you back to talk all kinds of fun stuff in the future.
Happy to. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I think I managed to retain maybe like 2% of my chill while talking to Rodney. I hope you found our chat as fascinating as I did. And man, if you've been sleeping on Killadelphia, you gotta go and get to it. It's so freaking good. I love it. I love it so very much. Thank you for joining me on another Friday. Thank you for joining me here in the Popverse. As always, I have been your host and video producer, Ashley Victoria Robinson, here on Enter the Popverse, our weekly roundup chat show, chatting all things geeky here in the Popverse. The Popverse is, of course, a virtual realm created by Read Pop, where we are celebrating all the time the best in TV, movies, and comics. As always, if you want more information about any of the stories that we covered, you want to know more, you want to search for other interviews, you want deep dives, you want fun facts, you can find all of that by going either down to the show notes of this video or straight up to thepopverse.com. While you're over there, why not get yourself a Popverse membership so you never miss a single ding-dang thing that we are doing all day, every day here in the Popverse. Since you're here on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the bell, everything that the scroller on the bottom is saying. That way you never miss an episode of Enter the Popverse, you never miss any of the incredible guests that we're having, and you never miss the opportunity to hear breaking news about some of the incredible places that we are going to be in future, like MagicCon in Las Vegas right this very second, New York Comic-Con in just a couple weeks, and so many exciting places after that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here in the Popverse today. Once again, I have been Ashley Victoria Robinson, and I will see you next time.